They called him the Beast, the Monster King, the Alpha who could not be tamed. They said he'd killed 17 challengers with his bare hands before his wolf even joined the fight. They said he'd torn out the throat of his own father to claim the throne. They said there was no humanity left in him, only rage, only hunger, only the feral beast that lived behind those blood-red eyes. Every pack in the 7 territories whispered his name like a curse. Every wolf who crossed his path prayed to the moon goddess for mercy, and every woman who was ever offered to him as a mate returned in pieces, or didn't return at all. My name is Ember Silverveil. I am the woman who was supposed to die, the sacrifice sent to appease the Beast King, the scared little Omega who walked into his throne room expecting to become his next victim. Instead, I became his obsession, his weakness, his salvation, and he became mine. This is the story of how I tamed the most dangerous alpha in existence, not with force, not with magic, but with something far more powerful, something neither of us saw coming. Are you ready? Then let me take you back to the night my entire world burned down, and the monster who rose from the ashes to claim me. I grew up in the Silverveil Pack. It was a small territory, nestled in the misty valleys of the eastern mountains, far from the politics and violence of the greater wolf kingdoms. We weren't warriors. We were healers, scholars, farmers, wolves who had chosen peace over power generations ago. My mother used to say we were blessed by the moon goddess herself. Ember, she'd whisper as she braided my hair each morning, you have gentle eyes. That's a gift, my love. In a world full of teeth and claws, gentle eyes can see what others miss. They can heal what others break. I believed her. I believed everything she told me. I believed in the goodness of wolves, in the safety of our valley, in the idea that if we simply stayed quiet and peaceful, the darkness of the world would pass us by. I was 19 years old when I learned how wrong I was. It happened on the night of the harvest moon. We were celebrating. Our entire pack gathered in the central clearing, dancing and feasting and howling our joy to the silver sky. I was laughing at something my younger brother Finn had said, my belly full of roasted venison, my heart full of simple, perfect happiness. And then, everything shattering. The screaming started. Wolves in black armor burst from the tree line. Dozens of them, hundreds, their eyes glowing with bloodlust, their fangs already extended, their claws already red. I remember my father's roar as he shifted, desperately trying to protect us. I remember my mother shoving me toward the forest, screaming at me to run. I remember the flames. Oh, moon goddess, the flames, consuming our homes, our temple, everything we'd ever known. I ran. I don't know how far, I don't know how long. I just ran until my legs gave out, until I collapsed in a pile of fallen leaves, until the sounds of slaughter faded into terrible, terrible silence. When I finally stopped shaking enough to crawl back toward the smoke, there was nothing left. No homes, no temple, no pack, no family. Just ash, just bodies, just me, alone, covered in soot and tears, standing in the ruins of everyone and everything I had ever loved. I screamed that night, screamed until my throat bled, screamed for my mother, my father, my brother, screamed for the moon goddess to tell me why. She didn't answer. She never does. But someone else did. A woman emerged from the shadows, tall, cold, beautiful in a cruel, sharp way. She wore the same black armor as the wolves who had destroyed my pack, and around her neck hung a symbol I would come to know all too well. A silver wolf's head with ruby eyes, the crest of the Nightfall Pack, the sigil of the Beast King. So, she said, circling my broken, trembling form like a vulture examining carrion. "You're the only survivor. How fortunate." Who are you? Why did you do this?" She smiled. It was the most terrifying smile I'd ever seen. "I am Commander Seraphine, and your little pack made the mistake of refusing tribute to our king. This," she gestured at the burning ruins, "is the consequence of that refusal." Tribute. They had destroyed my entire world over tribute. "But don't worry, little Omega." Seraphine stepped closer, grabbing my chin in her iron grip. "Your pack can still pay its debt. King Theron requires a mate. Every pack must offer a candidate, and since your pack no longer exists, you'll have to do." "No, no, I won't!" "You don't have a choice." She snapped her fingers, and 2 guards appeared, grabbing my arms, dragging me through the ashes of my home. "You'll be presented to the Beast King at the next full moon, whether you live or die after that." She laughed, cold, empty, cruel. "Well, that depends entirely on how much he enjoys breaking you." 2 weeks later. They took me to Shadowfang Fortress, the ancestral seat of the Nightfall Pack, the home of Alpha King Theron Nightfall. It rose from the dark forest like a nightmare made stone, black towers piercing the gray sky, walls slick with moisture that looked disturbingly like blood, guards everywhere, massive wolves with dead eyes and scarred faces, watching my arrival with something between pity and amusement. "Another sacrifice," their looks seemed to say. "She won't last a week." They threw me in a cell, not a guest room, not quarters befitting a potential mate. A cell. Cold stone, iron bars, a thin blanket that did nothing against the chill. And there I waited for 2 weeks. They fed me once a day, scraps of bread and water that tasted like rust. They let me out twice to bathe in a freezing stream while guards watched, making crude comments I tried desperately to ignore. And every night I heard the screaming. Not mine, other women, other candidates who had been brought to the fortress before me. I never saw them. I never learned their names. I only heard their screams echoing through the stone corridors, and then their silence. I should have been terrified, and I was. Don't get me wrong, I was absolutely terrified. But somewhere in that cold, dark cell, something else began to grow. Anger. They had taken everything from me. My family, my pack, my future. And now they expected me to die screaming just like those other women? To be another nameless victim of their monster king? No, I refused. If I was going to die, I was going to die standing, fighting, looking that beast directly in his blood-red eyes and letting him know that Ember Silverveil was not just another broken Omega to be discarded. Was it brave? Foolish? Probably both, but it was all I had left, and I clung to it like a lifeline. The night of the full moon arrived too quickly. Guards came for me at sunset. They shoved me into a bathing chamber where silent servants scrubbed me clean, brushed my long auburn hair until it shone, and dressed me in a gown of deep crimson that clung to my curves in ways that made my cheeks burn. "Red for blood," one of the servants whispered when the guards weren't listening. "He likes to see the blood better against red." Comforting. They marched me through endless corridors, past hundreds of wolves who stopped to stare, up winding staircases that seemed to lead directly into the storm clouds gathering above. Finally, we reached a massive set of doors, black wood carved with scenes of wolves in battle, ripping enemies apart, standing triumphant on mountains of corpses. Subtle, The throne room was cavernous. Torches lined the walls, casting everything in flickering orange light and dancing shadows. Hundreds of wolves filled the space, nobles, warriors, servants, all pressed against the walls, all staring at me with expressions ranging from curiosity to hunger. And at the far end of the room, the throne. A massive construction of black iron and wolf skulls, rising like a monument to death itself, and sitting upon it, him. My first thought was, he doesn't look real. My second thought was, he looks like death incarnate. Theron Nightfall was enormous. Even sitting, I could tell he would tower over every wolf in the room. His body was pure muscle, barely contained by the black leather and silver armor he wore. Scars crisscrossed every inch of visible skin, his arms, his neck, his face. One particularly brutal mark ran from his forehead across his left eye down to his jaw. His hair was black as a raven's wing, swept back from a face that might have been handsome if it wasn't so utterly, completely cold. But it was his eyes that made my breath catch. Red. Not brown, not amber, not any color that should exist in a wolf's eyes. Blood red. Glowing like embers in a dying fire, fixed on me with an intensity that made my wolf, silent for weeks, suddenly scream inside my chest. Mate. No, this couldn't be happening. The moon goddess could not be this cruel. The beast who had ordered the massacre of my pack, the monster who had killed countless women before me, was my fated mate? But my wolf didn't care about my horror. She was howling, clawing at the inside of my skin, desperate to get closer to him. And across the room, something shifted in those blood-red eyes. A flicker, a flame. His nostrils flared, his hands, massive, scarred, deadly, gripped the arms of his throne so hard the iron groaned. His voice, for the first time. Everyone out. His voice was like thunder rolling across mountains, deep, rough, commanding absolute obedience. Nobody moved at first, too stunned by the order. Out. Chaos, wolves scattered, nobles, warriors, servants, everyone fled for the doors, their footsteps thundering against the stone floor. In seconds, the massive throne room was empty. Just me and him, and the terrible, impossible truth burning between us. He stood. Moon goddess, he was even bigger than I'd realized. At least 6.5 feet of pure, lethal power, stalking toward me with the grace of a predator who had never once been prey. I should have run. Every survival instinct I possessed was screaming at me to run, but I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I could only watch as he stopped mere inches away, his heat washing over me, his scent, pine and smoke and something wild, filling my lungs, his hand reaching for me. He raised one massive hand. I flinched, but he didn't strike me. Instead, his fingers, calloused, scarred, trembling slightly, brushed against my cheek with a gentleness that made no sense, that didn't fit with anything I knew about this monster. Impossible, he breathed. What is this? What's happening? You know what this is. His eyes burned into mine. Your wolf has already told you. No, this is wrong. You're the beast who destroyed your pack. He knew. Of course he knew. He knew exactly who I was and what had been done in his name. Yes, I whispered, tears threatening. You killed everyone I loved, and now the moon goddess wants me to be your mate? His jaw tightening. The moon goddess is cruel. She always has been. So what happens now? You reject me? Kill me like all the others? Long pause. Something shifted in his face, something I couldn't read. Others? The women they bring you, the screaming I hear every night. Everyone knows you break your mates, that you... His growl cutting me off. I have never had a mate before. Confused. What? I have never felt the mate bond, not once in 32 years. He was circling me now, his red eyes never leaving mine. Every woman brought to me, I sent away. Some refused to leave. Some tried to force my hand. They were dealt with accordingly. So the screaming, ambitious wolves trying to climb into my bed uninvited. His lip curled in disgust. My guards escort them out, sometimes roughly, but I have never taken a single one of them. But everyone says what I want them to say. He stopped in front of me again. A beast who kills his mates is far more terrifying than an alpha who simply refuses them. Fear is a weapon. I've wielded it my entire life. He had cultivated his reputation deliberately, made himself into a monster in the eyes of the world. But why? None of that matters now. What matters is you. He gripped my chin, firmly but not cruelly, forcing me to meet those burning eyes. You are my mate. The moon goddess has bound us together, and that means everything just became very, very complicated. You still destroyed my pack. Yes. My family is dead because of you. Yes. And you expect me to just accept this bond? His answer was brutal honesty. I expect nothing. You could reject me, walk away. The bond would weaken and eventually it might even fade. You would let me leave? I'm not in the habit of forcing anyone to stay. He released my chin, stepping back. But you should know what rejection means. For me, for you. What? For you, pain. Constant, grinding pain that will lessen over time but never fully disappear. Your wolf will mourn what could have been for the rest of her life. And for you? For me, he smiled, and it was the saddest thing I had ever seen. Death. A rejected alpha goes feral, loses his mind, becomes the monster everyone already believes me to be. Within weeks, I would have to be put down like a rabid animal. I didn't want to care. I shouldn't care. This was the beast who had ordered the destruction of everything I loved. So why did the thought of him dying make my wolf howl with grief? His voice continued. So here are your options, Ember Silverveil. Reject me and condemn us both to different kinds of suffering. Or stay. Let me prove to you that I'm more than the monster they made me. Give me a chance to earn what the moon goddess has already given. How can you ask me that, after what you did? I'm not asking you to forgive me, not yet, maybe not ever. I'm asking you to understand that there's more to the story of that night than you know, and I'm asking you to give me time to show you. Every rational part of my brain was screaming at me to run, to reject him, to take my chances with the pain rather than bind myself to this creature. But my wolf was already reaching for him, already yearning, already beginning to recognize him as ours. If I stay, I said slowly, I want answers about my pack, about who you really are, about everything. No more lies, no more fear tactics, just truth. Done. And I want to be treated as an equal, not a prisoner, not a sacrifice, a mate. His eyes flickering. That may be more difficult. There are threats you don't understand, but I will try. Then I'll stay. I straightened my spine, meeting his gaze without flinching. But I make no promises about the bond, about accepting you fully. That you'll have to earn. For a long moment, he simply stared at me. And then, the most unexpected thing happened. He smiled. Not the cold, cruel smiles I'd imagined from the Beast King. A real smile. Small, surprised, almost hopeful. You're not afraid of me. I'm terrified of you. Yet you're still standing there making demands. Being afraid doesn't mean being controlled by fear. I lifted my chin. My mother taught me that. Your mother sounds wise. She was, before your wolves killed her. He flinched, actually flinched, and in that moment I saw something I never expected to see in the Beast King's eyes. Regret. "I will tell you everything about that night," he said quietly. "But not tonight. Tonight you need rest, food, safety." He turned toward the door. "I'll have rooms prepared for you. Proper rooms, not a cell." Following him with my eyes. "And where will you sleep?" He paused at the doorway, glancing back over his shoulder. "As far from you as possible, until you invite me closer." Surprised. "Really?" "You are my mate, Ember. I would sooner cut off my own arm than touch you without your permission." His red eyes gleamed. "The beast may be untamable, but for you I will learn." And then he was gone, leaving me standing alone in the empty throne room, my heart racing, my wolf singing, and my entire worldview crumbling around me. The monster wasn't what I expected. Nothing was what I expected, and I had no idea what was coming next. The next 2 weeks were strange. Strange because I was living in the heart of the fortress that had haunted my nightmares. Strange because I was surrounded by wolves I had been taught to fear. But strangest of all, I was starting to not hate it. True to his word, Theron gave me rooms fit for a queen, a massive bed with silk sheets, a fireplace that was always lit, windows overlooking the dark forest, a wardrobe full of beautiful clothes in every color except red. "I noticed you flinched when they put you in red that first night," he explained gruffly when I asked about the missing color. "I had it removed." He noticed. He noticed, and he changed something because of it. The Beast King, feared across 7 territories, had removed an entire color from my wardrobe because it made me uncomfortable. Servants attended me, but they weren't cold or cruel like I expected. A young woman named Mira became something almost like a friend, bringing me extra desserts from the kitchen and gossiping about palace life. "The king is different since you arrived," she told me one morning, her eyes wide. "Everyone's noticed. He doesn't snarl at the guards anymore. He hasn't broken a single piece of furniture in days." "Days? That's the improvement?" "You don't understand. Before you, he destroyed something every few hours. Furniture, walls, training dummies, sometimes wolves who challenged him. His rage was constant, unstoppable." She leaned closer. "But now he just looks at you like you're the only thing keeping him anchored to the earth." Warmth spreading despite myself. I wanted to dismiss it, to remind myself that this was still the man who had destroyed my pack. But every day it got harder to hold on to my hate. The dinners. Theron insisted we dine together every evening. At first, the meals were silent, awkward. 2 people eating across from each other while a canyon of pain stretched between us. But slowly, he began to talk. His voice in memory, rough but somehow gentle. "I was born wrong." He said it on the 4th night, staring at his wine like it held secrets. "Wrong?" "My wolf. Most pups bond with their wolves around puberty, a slow, natural merging. But he set down his goblet, "I was born with my wolf already awake, already merged, already hungry." I listened intently. "My mother died in childbirth. The labor was difficult, and I was too aggressive, too strong. Even as an infant, I tore her apart from the inside." "That wasn't your fault. You were a baby." "Tell that to my father." His jaw tightened. "He never looked at me without seeing her blood on my hands. He tried to love me, I believe he tried, but there was always that darkness between us. And when my wolf's nature became clear, when everyone realized I wasn't just a difficult child, but something else entirely." "What do you mean, something else?" His eyes meeting mine. "My wolf isn't normal, Ember. He's not the partnership most wolves have with their beasts. He's dominant, overwhelming. When I was young, I lost control constantly, hurt people, nearly killed my own cousin over a toy." "So your father brought in specialists, trainers, even witches who promised to cure me." Nothing worked. Every time they pushed, my wolf pushed back harder. He was wild, untamable, and everyone who tried to control me only made him worse. So you stopped trying to control him? No, a bitter smile. I started letting him win, embraced the beast, became what everyone already believed I was. It was easier that way, less painful than fighting a battle I could never win. You're not actually untamable. You're just exhausted. You gave up. No one's ever put it that way before. Because everyone's too scared to see past the monster? I leaned forward. But I'm not everyone. I see you, Theron, the real you, and I don't think you're beyond saving. I think you never had anyone who believed you could be saved. Long silence. When he finally spoke, his voice was rough with something that sounded dangerously close to emotion. You should hate me. I want to. Then why don't you? Honest. Because hating you hurts me more than it hurts you, and I'm tired of hurting. Something shifting between us. He reached across the table. His fingers brushed mine, and for the first time since we'd met, his wolf didn't flare in his eyes. No red glow, no beast straining for control, just a man, scarred, broken, desperate, looking at me like I was oxygen and he'd been drowning for years. I don't deserve you, he whispered. Probably not, I smiled slightly, but I'm here anyway, so let's figure out what that means. He told me about my pack on the night of the new moon. We were sitting in his private study, a room I'd discovered he used to hide when the demands of ruling became too much. Books everywhere, a fire crackling, two wolves who were slowly, impossibly, becoming something more than enemies. You want to know why I ordered the attack on the Silvervale pack? It wasn't a question. Yes. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, I didn't. What? I never ordered an attack on your pack. I never even knew they existed until Seraphine brought you to my throne room. But she said, tribute. She wore your crest. Seraphine is my commander of warfare, has been for 5 years. She handles military operations that He paused, shame crossing his face. That I trust her to handle. I don't ask questions. I simply let her do what needs to be done. So you're saying my family is dead because you couldn't be bothered to ask questions? Yes. No defense, no excuses. I gave a monster free rein because controlling her was too much effort, and innocent wolves died because of my negligence. Why? Why would she attack us? We were peaceful. We offered no threat. I don't know, but I intend to find out. He leaned forward. Something isn't right, Ember. In the weeks since you arrived, I've been quietly investigating the attacks on rebel packs, the tributes collected, the violence done in my name. It's all been handled by Seraphine, and none of it matches the orders I actually gave. She's been acting on her own. Worse, I think she's been building something, an army maybe, or alliances, using my reputation to gain power while keeping me isolated, distracted, under control. Under control, the untamable beast controlled by his own commander. Ironic, isn't it? His smile was razor sharp. She found a way to tame me after all, not through force, but through manipulation, through letting me believe I was too dangerous to be involved in my own kingdom's affairs.
So what do we do? We? She killed my family, Theron. If you think I'm sitting on the sidelines while she walks free in this fortress, you've dramatically underestimated me. His eyes blazing, but not with anger, with pride, with admiration, with something that looked dangerously like love. I'm starting to think I've underestimated everything about you, Ember Silvervale. Smiling despite myself. Good, keep that in mind. I will. He stood, extending his hand. Come, we have a traitor to catch, and I want you by my side when we do. Taking his hand, my fingers wrapped around his, and this time, neither of us let go. Okay, I need to pause here, because I know some of you are sitting there right now like, wait, the commander's the real villain? This is insane! What happens next? Trust me, it gets so much crazier. But first, I want to check in with you. Where in the world are you watching from right now? What time is it there? Drop a comment and let me know. I love seeing how far this story is traveling, whether you're in Nigeria at 2 a.m., or the Philippines during lunch, or London in the middle of the night, or anywhere else in our beautiful world. And tell me honestly, are you Team Theron yet? I know, he's still ordered the attack, he was negligent, he let terrible things happen in his name. But is he redeemable? Can someone who's been a beast their whole life truly become something more? Comment your thoughts below. I genuinely want to know what you're feeling right now. Okay, ready to continue? Because what happens next? It changed everything. It nearly destroyed everything. And it showed me what the Alpha King was truly capable of when someone threatened his mate. Let's go. Seraphine was smarter than we realized. We moved carefully, quietly, gathering evidence, finding allies within the pack who had suspected her treachery but been too afraid to speak. But somehow, she knew. My king! Her voice echoed through the throne room one morning as Theron and I were meeting with his advisors. She strode in like she owned the place, tall, beautiful, deadly. Those pale eyes swept over me with barely concealed contempt. I see your pet is allowed at official meetings now. She is my mate. She belongs at my side. Of course, Seraphine smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Speaking of belonging at your side, I've just received word of a rebellion forming in the Southern Territories. I'll need to deploy immediately. My wolf bristling. Something was wrong. I could feel it. She was too calm, too confident, like a snake that had already coiled around its prey. You won't be deploying anywhere. Theron stood slowly. Not until we've discussed some irregularities in your recent campaigns. Her mask slipping, just slightly. Irregularities? The Silvervale Massacre, the Northern Cullings, the tribute collections that somehow never reach the kingdom's treasury. He stepped toward her. Care to explain? For a moment, I thought she would deny it, would lie, would try to slither away. But instead, she laughed. Oh, Theron, she actually laughed. Did you really think you'd figure it out before it was too late? The guards flooding in, the doors burst open. But not with Theron's guards, with hers. Wolves in black armor, identical to the ones who had destroyed my pack. Dozens of them, surrounding us, cutting off every exit. This was never about rebellion, was it? My voice was steadier than I felt. You've been planning a coup. Clever, Omega. Seraphine's smile turned predatory. I've spent 10 years building this army, 10 years manipulating the untamable king into believing he was too dangerous to rule, 10 years waiting for the perfect moment to take what should have been mine. You were never going to be queen, Seraphine. No, because you were too broken to see what was right in front of you, too lost in your own beast to notice me, to want me, to choose me. Jealousy, that's what this was. This is about rejection? I couldn't help the disbelief in my voice. You destroyed innocent packs because he wouldn't love you? I destroyed innocent packs because they were in my way. She whirled on me. And you pathetic little Omega from a nothing pack, you walk in here and suddenly the beast is tamed? Suddenly he's looking at you like you hung the moon? You've been here 1 month. I gave him 10 years. Her composure shattering. But it doesn't matter now, because once you're dead and he's imprisoned, the throne will be mine, and I will burn this kingdom to the ground and rebuild it as I see fit. Her signal, kill the Omega, capture the king. Chaos erupting.
Guards lunged, Theron roared, and everything exploded into violence. Theron's shift was instantaneous. 1 second a man, the next a massive black wolf, easily twice the size of any guard attacking him. His fur seemed to absorb light, his eyes blazed like twin suns, and when he moved, he was death given form. Guards fell like wheat before a scythe, bones cracked, blood sprayed. Wolves who had seemed so terrifying moments ago were torn apart like paper. But there were so many of them, and they kept coming. Hands grabbed me from behind. I twisted, fought, kicked, but I wasn't a warrior. I was a healer's daughter, an Omega. Ember! Theron's roar shook the walls. He tried to get to me, but 3 wolves tackled him simultaneously, claws digging into his flanks, teeth snapping at his throat. Cold metal pressed against my neck. Seraphine's breath was hot against my ear. Stop fighting, beast, or watch your mate bleed out on your throne room floor. Everything freezing. Theron went still. His massive wolf form was trembling, wounds dripping blood, chest heaving, but his eyes were fixed on the knife at my throat with absolute terror. Let her go. His voice was half growl, half plea. Take the kingdom, take anything you want, just don't hurt her. Seraphine laughing. Oh, this is priceless. The untamable beast begging. For a woman he's known barely a month, love really does make fools of us all. No, her voice, so quiet for so long, suddenly surged inside me. We are not dying here, and neither is our mate. Something awakening. I don't know how to explain what happened next. My mother used to tell me stories about Omega wolves who possessed a special gift, the ability to calm any wolf, no matter how far gone, the ability to reach past the beast and touch the humanity beneath. She called it the anchor. She said her grandmother had possessed it. She said it had saved their pack from a rogue alpha decades ago. And she said she believed I might carry it too. Light exploded from my skin. Not harsh light, soft light, silver light like moonbeams made tangible. Seraphine screamed, stumbling back, the knife clattering from her grip, and every wolf in the room, every single one, froze. I could feel them, their wolves, their rage, their fear, their bloodlust, all of it suddenly connected to me, flowing through me, and I could calm it. Stop. My voice wasn't my own. It echoed with something ancient, something divine. All of you, stop. One by one, the attacking guards collapsed. Their wolves receded. Their violence drained away. They lay on the floor, confused, docile, looking around like they couldn't remember how they'd gotten there. Seraphine backing away. What are you? I'm an Omega. I stepped toward her, silver light still glowing in my veins. But my mother always said Omegas aren't weak. We're anchors. We're the ones who keep the pack together, who calm the storms, who remind even the most feral wolves that they are more than their beasts. You tried to turn my mate into a monster. You killed my family. You terrorized this kingdom for years. Please, fear, real fear in her eyes now. I should kill you. But I'm not like you. The silver light fading. Guards. My voice was tired now, the power draining. The real guards. Take her to the cells. She'll face trial for her crimes. Collapsing. The last thing I saw was Theron, shifted back to human form, bloody and wounded, catching me as I fell. I've got you, he breathed. I've got you, you incredible, impossible woman. But even as consciousness faded, I felt something warm in my chest, the mate bond, pulsing between us like a heartbeat, stronger than ever before. I woke up in Theron's bed, not my guest room, his bed. The sheets smelled like him, pine and smoke and wild things, And he was there, sitting in a chair beside me, dark circles under his eyes, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Hey," I croaked. "Hey," his voice was rough. "How do you feel?" Like I pushed a mountain uphill, I tried to sit up and winced. "What happened?" "You saved us. All of us. Your power." He shook his head in wonder. "I've heard of the anchor gift, but I never thought I'd actually see it. The way you calmed every wolf in that room, including the ones trying to kill us, including me." Confused. "What do you mean?" "When Seraphine had that knife to your throat, my beast took over completely. I wasn't thinking anymore. I was just rage, desperation. I would have torn myself apart trying to reach you." He reached for my hand, gripping it like a lifeline. "But when your power washed over me, for the first time in my life, I felt my wolf go quiet, peaceful, calm." Tears threatening. "You tamed me, Ember. Not through force, not through fear, through something I've never experienced before." "What?" His eyes meeting mine, raw, vulnerable. "Love." Heart stopping. "Farron, I know I haven't earned the right to say it. I know there's still so much darkness between us, but I need you to know, I love you. I've loved you since the moment you stood in my throne room and demanded answers instead of begging for your life. I loved you more every single day since, and I will spend the rest of my existence trying to be worthy of what the moon goddess gave me when she gave me you." Tears falling. "You destroyed my pack. I allowed it to happen through negligence, yes. My family is dead, yes, and I can never undo that." Long silence. "But you're not who I thought you were." Hope flickering in his eyes. "No? You're not a monster, Theron. You're a man who was never given a chance to be anything else. And now," I squeezed his hand, "now I'm giving you that chance." His breath catching. "Ember, I'm not saying I forgive you, not yet. That's going to take time, maybe a long time." I held his gaze. "But I'm saying I'm willing to stay, to try, to see if this bond can become something real, something chosen, not just fated." His response. He didn't kiss me, didn't claim me. He simply lifted my hand to his lips and pressed a gentle kiss to my knuckles. "I will spend every day earning your forgiveness, and every night thanking the moon goddess that you're still here. For the first time since my pack died, I felt something I thought I'd lost forever. Hope." The next 6 months were a journey I never expected. Seraphine stood trial and was executed for her crimes. The wolves she had manipulated were evaluated, some imprisoned, others released after proving they'd been coerced. The families of those she'd killed were compensated from her seized assets. It wasn't enough. Nothing could ever be enough. But it was justice, and justice was a start. And Theron and I grew closer every day. He showed me parts of himself no one had ever seen. His love for ancient poetry, his secret garden where he grew rare flowers, his nightly habit of walking the fortress walls, protecting his pack even when they didn't know they needed protecting. And I showed him parts of myself, too. My mother's healing techniques, which I began teaching to the pack's medical staff, my father's dry sense of humor, which made Theron laugh in ways that startled everyone who heard it, my grief, which I no longer hid, and which he held with gentle hands whenever it overwhelmed me. The mate bond between us grew stronger with every passing week, no longer just a thread of connection, a rope, a chain, an anchor, binding us together in ways that felt less like fate and more like choice. And Theron's wolf, the untamable beast that had terrorized kingdoms, he changed too. "I don't understand it," Theron admitted one night as we lay tangled together in bed, my head on his chest, his fingers tracing patterns on my arm. I used to fight me constantly. Every second of every day was a battle for control. But now he's content, calm, like he finally found what he was looking for. He pressed a kiss to the top of my head. You're not just my mate, Ember. You're his too, and he would burn the world to keep you safe. Smiling, let's hope that won't be necessary. With our luck, give it a week. Laughing together, our laughter echoed through the chamber, and for the first time in either of our lives, neither of us was alone. I decided to complete the bond on the night of the winter solstice. It was the longest night of the year, a night sacred to wolves, when the veil between our world and the moon goddess's realm was thinnest, and I wanted Theron fully. No more waiting, no more holding back. Mira helped me dress in a gown of silver and white, my hair woven with moonflowers, my skin dusted with shimmer that caught the candlelight. You look like a queen, she whispered. I'm about to become one, I smiled at my reflection. Terrifying, isn't it? The only thing terrifying is how long it took you two to get here. The entire pack has been making bets. Who won? Me, she grinned. I said solstice. Everyone else said you'd crack months ago. Theron had transformed the throne room. Gone were the torches that cast everything in orange and shadow. In their place, thousands of candles floated in the air, magical constructs that filled the space with warm, golden light. Moonflowers carpeted the floor. The terrible throne of skulls had been removed, replaced by an altar draped in silver silk. And standing before that altar, my mate, dressed in black and silver, his dark hair swept back, his scars on full display rather than hidden for once. He stood tall and proud, no longer ashamed of the marks that mapped his survival. But it was his eyes that made me stop breathing. Not red. For the first time since I'd known him, they were gold. Pure, warm, beautiful gold. Your wolf, I breathed as I reached him. He's not fighting you. He has nothing to fight anymore. Farron took my hands. He's home, Ember. We're home. Because of you. The pack surrounded us, hundreds of wolves, silent and reverent, witnessing the impossible. The Beast King taking a mate, the Omega who tamed him, two broken souls choosing each other. Elder Cyrus, the pack's oldest wolf, who had served 3 generations of Nightfall kings, stepped forward to officiate. Before the moon goddess and this gathered pack, we witness the union of Alpha Theron Nightfall and Ember Silverveil. Their bond was written in the stars. Tonight they choose to honor that bond. Tonight they become one. Vows. Farron spoke first, his voice rough with emotion. Ember, when you came into my life, I was a beast wearing a man's skin. I had convinced myself I was beyond saving, beyond love, beyond hope. And then you looked at me with those gentle eyes, and you saw me, not the monster, not the legend, me, the broken man underneath. And you decided I was worth saving. Tears streaming down my face. I don't have pretty words. I don't know how to do this, but I know that I love you more than I've ever loved anything. I know that my wolf is yours. I know that I will spend every day of forever protecting you, cherishing you, trying to be the mate you deserve. So I vow this. I will never let you feel invisible again. I will never let you go hungry, go cold, go unloved. I will be your shield, your sword, your home, from this moment until my soul finds yours again in the moon goddess's gardens. I took a shaky breath. Theron, when I came to this fortress, I expected death. I expected a monster. I expected the end of my story. Instead, I found the beginning. I found a man so desperate to be loved that he had convinced himself he didn't deserve it. I found a wolf so wild that no one had ever tried to understand him. I found my mate, my destiny, my home. I won't pretend the past doesn't exist. I won't pretend you haven't hurt me. But I've learned that forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing a future despite the pain of the past. And I choose you. I choose this. I choose us. So I vow this. I will be your anchor when the beast threatens to consume you. I will be your light when the darkness feels too heavy. I will love you through every scar, every flaw, every terrible moment and beautiful sunrise, from this moment until forever ends. Elder Cyrus nodded. Then complete the bond, mark each other as wolves, as mates, as partners in this life and beyond. Farron's eyes glowed, gold now, not red, as he leaned toward my neck. I tilted my head, offering myself, and when his teeth sank into my skin, the world shattered and reformed around me. I felt him, all of him, every memory, every emotion, every deep and hidden part of his soul flooding into mine. The loneliness he'd carried for 32 years, the self-hatred, the desperate secret hope that someone would finally love him. And now, the overwhelming, all-consuming love he felt for me. I marked him back, felt his gasp, felt the bond lock into place like a key turning in a lock, felt my wolf and his merge, two halves of a single whole. When we pulled apart, we were both crying, both laughing, both home. My Luna, he breathed, my king. The pack erupted in howls that shook the very fortress, and as Theron pulled me into a kiss that promised forever, I finally understood what my mother had meant all those years ago. Gentle eyes can see what others miss. They can heal what others break, and they can love what others fear.
2 years. It seems like forever and like no time at all. The Nightfall Pack has changed under our reign. The fortress that once felt like a nightmare now feels like home. The wolves who once cowered in fear now laugh in our halls, raise families, build futures. Theron is still terrifying to outsiders. His reputation as the Beast King persists, and honestly, it's useful. No one attacks a kingdom ruled by a monster. But I know the truth. I know he cries during sad stories. I know he sings terribly in the bath. I know he talks to our daughter's belly every night, just like he once talked to mine. Oh, did I not mention? Yes, we have a daughter, Luna Celine Nightfall. She has his dark hair and my gentle eyes. Her wolf is already awake, strong like her father, but calm like her mother. The healers say she might inherit my anchor ability. Theron says she's already the most powerful wolf in the kingdom. He's completely wrapped around her tiny finger. The Beast King, the untamable alpha, reduced to making silly faces to get a giggle from a 1-year-old. And I am Ember Nightfall, Luna of the Nightfall Pack, mate of the Alpha King, mother, healer, anchor. If you had told me 3 years ago that my story would lead here, that the burning of my pack was the beginning, not the end, that the monster in the fortress would become the love of my life, I would have called you insane. But the moon goddess writes our stories in ways we can't understand. She breaks us and rebuilds us. She leads us through darkness so we can appreciate light. She took everything from me, and then she gave me everything back, and more. So if you're out there right now, feeling like a beast that can't be tamed, feeling like an omega that doesn't matter, feeling like your story has ended before it truly began, please hear me. You are not beyond saving. You are not too broken to love. You are not defined by what others have done to you. Your mate is out there somewhere. Your destiny is waiting. Your story is just beginning. This was my story. The story of the beast no one could tame, until his mate walked into his throne room and refused to be afraid. Thank you for being here, for listening, for believing in a love story that shouldn't have been possible, but was. May the moon goddess bless your journey, and may you find your mate when you least expect it.
We made it. Can you believe it?
I'm honestly emotional right now. This story, my story, it means so much to me. And the fact that you stayed until the very end, that means even more. So, tell me everything. Drop a comment right now and let me know. What was the moment that hit you hardest? Was it when Theron revealed the truth about his wolf? Was it when I discovered the anchor power inside me? Was it the claiming ceremony? The vows? That scene where the Beast King makes silly faces at our baby daughter? I want to hear from you. And I want to know, where in the world are you watching from? What time is it there? Are you alone, or is someone there with you? Because this story, this isn't just my story. It's a story for everyone who's ever felt too broken to be loved, too wild to be accepted, too damaged to deserve happiness. You deserve love. You deserve a mate who sees beyond the surface. You deserve your own happily ever after. And I believe with my whole heart that it's coming for you. So, like this video if it touched your heart. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. Share it with someone who needs to know that beasts can be tamed and omegas can change the world. Until next time, beautiful souls, may the moon goddess guide your path, may your beast find its calm, and may you always remember, no one is beyond saving, especially not you. Goodbye, my loves. I'll see you in the next story.